Good evening. On the social network today, we remember actor Puneeth Rajkumar. Tributes and messages of remembrance have continued to pour in online through the course of the day. This as thousands of fans have gathered at the Kannada Stadium in Bengaluru, well, to say goodbye. On the show today, Maya Sharma reports from Ground Zero at the Kannada Stadium, where fans have gathered to pay their last respects. Puneeth Rajkumar was just 46 years old. His sudden death has left fans, colleagues and the entire country really completely shocked and grief-stricken. Take a look.
It seems very unbelievable. He was just 46 years old, very fit. The gym was a part of his routine, and it was in fact at the gym where he began experiencing pains. So the body of Puneeth Rajkumar arriving here at the Kannada Stadium in order to allow the thousands of people, his fans, to pay their respects. Already shouts of sorrow. There were crowds gathered outside the hospital from the time he was admitted. There were crowds outside his residence where he was taken from the hospital to allow his family to say goodbye. And here as well, there are crowds waiting outside the stadium to come in. The body will also be here on Saturday as well, and the police commissioner said it would be here for as long as the family of Puneeth Rajkumar wanted. But this extremely sad moment,
that is what they are saying.
The body of Puneeth Rajkumar being put in place there to allow people to pay their respects. And thousands will be coming here to say goodbye to the power star of Kannada cinema, a child actor. He acted as a child, as Lohit, he sang his own songs. As Puneeth Rajkumar, he was a big star. And as Appu, he will be missed by those who knew him personally as well. Bengaluru, Karnataka, the Indian film industry saying goodbye to Puneeth Rajkumar, gone too soon. With Govind Murthy, Maya Sharma in Bengaluru for NDTV.
Well, joining us on the broadcast, Maya Sharma, live from the Kannada Stadium in Bengaluru. We have Dr. Sudarshan Balal, Chairman of the Manipal Hospitals. We also have Harish Bijur, brand strategy expert. He is somebody who knew Mr. Puneeth Rajkumar very closely, personally as well. But Maya, to you first, you're at Ground Zero. You're at the stadium, and as you've been reporting, thousands of people continue, to pour in to say goodbye.
That's correct. Yes, the body of the late power star Puneeth Rajkumar arrived at Kannada Stadium at 7 p.m. And if anything, the numbers of fans is only growing. It's amazing to see the outpouring of love and also sorrow. They're coming in, they're chanting Appu, Appu. That was the name by which he was affectionately known. As a child star, of course, he was Lohit. And as an adult star, he was Puneeth Rajkumar, the power star. And you can see from that side over there, that is where they are coming in from. They've been pouring in. The numbers are only increasing. The body will be kept here on Saturday as well to allow fans to pay their respects. And the queue just goes on and on and on. The police have taken a lot of precautions to see that things go peacefully. There are 6,000 policemen on duty in the city of Bengaluru, and other forces also have been called in to help. They're paying their respects. The body is there at that stage there underneath that temporary shamiana. They're paying their respects there, and then they're coming out. It's so far been fairly orderly. The police have done what they came, but these are the thousands of people, the ordinary people, the fans of Puneeth Rajkumar who have been coming in by the thousands, and they're still pouring in. The numbers, if anything, are just increasing.
All right, Maya, that's just, in a certain sense, and you've been reporting through the course of the day, from the hospital where fans had gathered in such large numbers. We saw, in those pictures that you sent us earlier, that there were fans actually running alongside the ambulance as his body was taken home. And now the scenes behind Maya just testament, to the kind of love and support that Puneeth Rajkumar had. But it's been shocking, this story, for more reasons than one. And we also have Dr. Balbir Singh, Chairman, Cardiology, Max Hospital, Saket, and we have two very well-known doctors with us on the panel, because remember, Puneeth Rajkumar was just 46 years old. He was a fitness enthusiast. He tweeted fitness videos. He had a reputation for being, fit and working out. So this has come as a shock to everybody, really. But first, I want to go across to Harish Bijur, as somebody who knew him personally. Harish, it's an extremely untimely, extremely tragic loss for the entire country today.
Yes, I think it's totally untimely. I mean, too soon, far too soon. It's been a very sad day in Karnataka for sure. Why Karnataka? In the entire Kannada diaspora. Because, Puneeth has made an impact. And he came from the first family of Kannada cinema in many ways, which is Dr. Rajkumar's family. And he has been in cinema from the age of 6 months. So if you really look at it as Master Rajkumar and then Master Lohit and then, of course, Appu. So I think he was known as Gentle Appu, very gentle and totally humble, totally approachable. Someone who was very, very unfilmy, and it's very difficult to find in the filmy world a very unfilmy persona as humble as Puneeth was. Using the past tense is crazy, because one moment you're there and another moment one is praying that you recover, which was at about 12:30 this afternoon when all of us heard what had happened. And by 2:30, he is no more. A frailty of life, and I think that's sad. But that's the truth. He will be missed.
And Maya, as somebody, you also knew him. I just want to also ask you, one of the things that everyone said about him, in their tweets, in their messages of remembrance, is that he was extremely humble. And the fact that, as Harish Bijur pointed out, he was a child artist, then a television presenter, then, power star. His growing up has really been etched in public memory, hasn't it?
He was remarkably nice. He was a very nice person. In addition to the star quality, anyone you speak to talks about just what a nice person he was. Mr. Harish Bijur also mentioned it. He was humble, he was down to earth. I had met him on occasions, work-related. I had spoken to him regarding his film Prithvi about illegal mining. And he was just so approachable. And of course, that is the way ideally all stars should be. But we do know, of course, that's not always the case. He was just a nice guy. And I think that is also the testimony, the thousands of people behind me coming in. It's not just for his star appeal. It's just not for his successful films. It is partly the family to which he belongs, the son of the beloved and legendary Dr. Rajkumar, but also because he came across as a genuinely nice person. He did a lot of voluntary work also when it came to education, when he came to encouraging people to live well. He did not necessarily charge for all that publicity. He wanted to give. He came across as a very nice person. And for friends like Mr. Harish Bijur also, they will know that that is also what is bringing these thousands of people out to say goodbye to him.
Well, absolutely. And through the course of the day, one has heard just, the nicest stories, the nicest anecdotal stories, Maya, about Puneeth Rajkumar. But I also want to touch upon, another aspect of this story that really resonates with a lot of people, which is the fact that he was just 46. And believe it or not, it's been trending online all day. Hashtag just 46 has been trending online all day, because it has taken so many people by surprise that once again you have a celebrated personality who's actually died of a heart attack before the age of 50. And it's an unfortunately long list that we have, one that we're going to put out on our screens, which is why we have two expert doctors on the broadcast this evening as well, because I think this is a very important issue that also must be discussed. Dr. Balal, if I can come to you first, what do we make of this? I mean, he was just 46 years old. He actually suffered chest pain after a workout at his home gym this morning. Puneeth Rajkumar was fit. He exercised regularly. What explains this?
Good evening. Thank you for having me here. It's indeed a very, very sad day for all of us to have lost not only a great star but a wonderful human being. And our hearts go out to the family. You brought out a very, very important point that makes it very clear that your being young doesn't make you immune to heart attacks. Unfortunately, we are genetically prone to heart attacks, and I'm sure my cardiology colleagues will agree with it. In fact, stats do show that Indians do get heart attacks at least a decade or more earlier than the Western population. So please do not take your health for granted. I think there's a significant role for preventive health checks. Many of these things, with the proper check, you can find out whether there is a trend towards developing a heart disease or not. So please do not ignore your health even if you're young, and do have preventive health checks which may detect an occult disease which can be certainly cured. And the other important thing is that whenever you have any symptom that appears to be serious, rush to the hospital the earliest. There's a golden hour where you can save patients,
Right.
and that's the time that you should not miss out on.
Dr. Singh, if I can also bring you in here, one has heard of heart attacks earlier on in people in their 30s, people in their 40s, and a lot of this is linked to lifestyle. It's linked to stressful schedules, unhealthy eating habits. But for somebody like Puneeth Rajkumar, who at least on the face of it appears to have been a healthy individual who took care of his body, what explains such a severe heart attack at the age of 46? This is a question that a lot of people are actually wondering.
So first thing, I've come here to comment on a very sad demise. But as a cardiologist, this does not come as a surprise, because we see this age, and I did a 29 years old who came with a heart attack today. We were able to save his life. But this is not coming as a surprise. We Indians are predisposed to heart attacks and heart diseases much more than any Western countries. If you ask me, fitness doesn't mean gymming. In fact, athleticism or heavy gymming is actually a risk factor, not a protective factor. I went on to NDTV a few months back saying that all gyms should have people screened before enroll them into the gym. They should have some basic blood investigations, ECG, treadmill test before they actually enroll into the gym, and then have 6 monthly tests on them, because this is very important that people just think that they are going to gym and they cannot have a heart because they're the fittest people. But on the other hand, gyms have some very bad side effects, like the muscle training, like the supplements they supply, and very aggressive. I was in a gym and my trainer wanted, few years back, my trainer wanted me to run at 10, 12, which is not required, which is actually a risk. We don't need to run that fast. God didn't make us to run like a tiger or a lion. We need to run like a man. So a brisk walk or a mild exercise is good enough. We don't have to get heavy exertion, because these superstars need to build muscles. They need to show them they are very physically fit. Sometimes turns opposite way. It is actually becoming a risk factor. Taking those supplements, building muscles, exerting too much on the treadmill can actually be a risk factor rather than a protective agent. So we have to be very careful. The other thing with the lifestyle with the Indian population is the smoking is going up, the drug abuse is going up. All that are adding on a lot of pressure to the heart, which is ultimately going to buckle. So we should be careful. We should understand what actually lifestyle means. There are many different aspects of the lifestyle which we do not understand. Yoga is a great exercise which we are not doing. Yoga provides all the protective things for the blood pressure and diabetes, which we have forgotten. We have forgotten simple and get into complicated machines if we want to build our and run at 10, 12 kilometers an hour and show that we can do it because we are physically fit. Now that we are making ourselves, this is actually bouncing back on us. This is not the way we want things to be done. As a cardiologist, I don't want that.
Well, I think you've addressed very, very important points, both Dr. Balal and Dr. Singh, because I think, days like this are once again a grim reminder for everybody that you have to take care of your body, and just gymming and exercise and, in a certain sense, the supplements that people often take to look fit may actually be doing more harm than good. So, health needs to be looked at holistically, and today is just such a grim reminder of that. But Harish Bajur, if I can come back to you, you've been listening very patiently all this while. It is indeed a very sad day for the family, and this is a family where, everyone's no stranger to stardom. Tell us a little bit more about the family and what this untimely death is going to mean for them.
Well, at the end of the day, the one who's affected the most and who's hit the most is the immediate family in any such instance. He has a fan base which is very, very large. He possibly has some fan organizations, some 23 in number, with about 1.1 million fans all around. And I think these are the fans who are going to come and see him off today, tomorrow at Kannada Stadium. It's a loss for everybody, but it's the immediate family which gets the biggest sucker punch of it all. And my condolences to the immediate family and to the Kannada diaspora by and large. And I think we'll all remember Puneeth for who he was, totally humble. And I think in his going at this very young age of 46, just says one thing, just says life. I mean, here today, gone tomorrow, make the best of it. And I think that's something he did. I mean, he had a very frenetic lifestyle. His entire filmography, if you see, humongous, huge.
Yes.
And his plans were big. So I think here today, gone tomorrow, make the best of it. And I think, stay humble, be humble. And I think the one word to define him is humility, total humility, real humility. There are a lot of people who are humble, pretentiously, not Puneeth. He was totally humble. He would reach out to you wherever he was. He would find you in a crowd. He'd come to you and talk to you. And he'd ask you what you were eating. He'd get very intrusive at times. I mean, I met him at airports. I met him at buffets.
Right.
I met him at shows. So I think we'll remember Puneeth for who he was, a total humble human being, a gem of a guy. We'll miss him. All of us in Karnataka, Kannada diaspora will miss him for sure.
Maya, we've heard, of course, messages through the course of the day from friends, from colleagues, from people who were associated with him. But you're really there at the stadium where you can feel that energy in a certain sense. As you've been reporting, the numbers continue to swell. Through the course of the night, we're expecting to see fans line up just to say that last goodbye. Maya?
Yes. That is correct, yes, and the tone of the tributes. We had the Chief Minister, Basavaraj Bommai, talking about remembering Appu as a child, how close he was to Dr. Rajkumar's family. We've had tributes from cricketers like Anil Kumble, Virender Sehwag, Venkatesh Prasad. We've had, of course, many tributes from Kannada actors who he worked with, who knew him so well, who knew him firsthand. But really the biggest tribute of all, the pain, the sorrow being felt by these thousands of people who are still pouring into the stadium for their Appu, carrying his pictures, talking about him as if it has been a personal loss. The family, of course, the worst hit by this. We can see on the screen, in fact, over there, people coming closer, the people closer to the family coming to actually pay their respects up on the stage. Grief on the face of those finding it difficult to believe that he is in fact gone. But the thousands of people below that who are just filing past, who have waited hours for a glimpse of him, that really is the kind of emotion that Puneeth Rajkumar evoked. He was one of the much-loved stars of Kannada cinema, and the fraternity is poorer without him. That smile of his will certainly be missed.
Well, Maya, thank you very much, for giving us that update from Ground Zero. Those crowds, the expressions on people's faces and just hours of queuing up for that one last glimpse to say goodbye, I think tells us everything we need to know about the life of Puneeth Rajkumar. Thank you all very much for joining us on this special edition of the show where we paid a tribute to the actor, small tribute to Puneeth Rajkumar. Gone too soon is all we can say. Thanks for watching.